What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Eddie Hearn, Canelo Alvarez, and David Benavidez. Get this. Eddie Hearn states that Canelo would fight Benavidez if he beat Charlo or Plant. Wow. David Benavidez would get a fight against Canelo Alvarez if he beats Jamal Charlo or Caleb Plant, says Eddie Hearn. He feels that Benavidez, which is 26-0 with 23 KOs, needs to earn a title shot against the undisputed super middleweight champion Canelo by beating one of those two. If it's not enough that Benavidez is the WBC interim 168-pound champion and the mandatory for Canelo's title with the organization, Benavidez still needs to earn the fight against Canelo, even though he's done more than enough to earn a fight by becoming the WBC mandatory and interim champion. What Hearn is talking about sounds like it's from textbook fighters that wants to avoid that. But he said this. He said, great fighters like Benavidez. Benavidez now is going to fight Jose Uzcategui, a good fighter, a strong fighter, but come on. You're screaming out for Canelo Alvarez. You have to make statements. You have to make fans say, Canelo, you must take the David Benavidez fight, says Eddie Hearn. Let me counterpunch. Look. If you want rules to go a certain way, you need to follow the rules. If he's the WBC, if he's the interim champion, then therefore on the WBC end, that means that Canelo must fight him. You know, for Hearn saying that Benavidez being the mandatory for Canelo's WBC means nothing, that's bullshit. Because if that's the case, drop every fucking belt that you have. That means that you do not need to carry belts to be who you are. So if Canelo is above the sanctioning body's rules, drop the belts and see how good you do without the belts. Let somebody else fight for the belts. What you did last year meant absolutely nothing if you don't abide and defend the belts and the rules or the regulations according to the belts. He must obey the rules. If he doesn't, drop the fucking belts. Vacate the titles and be gone. See what Eddie's saying? He's already admitted he's a Canelo fanboy. He promotes him from time to time, here and there, you know. He lets Canelo do what he wants to because Canelo does what he wants to. And this is more jargon that allows someone like Canelo to believe he does what he wants to do. He does do what he wants to do. But at the end of the day, though, at the very end of the day, I believe that Canelo should defend his titles. What's the use of being undisputed if you don't defend them, right? So he needs to defend his titles against David Benavidez or drop all the belts. Saying, yep, I got him. I was able to achieve him. Now, there you go. Back at you. He could do that. But don't, like, guys like Eddie Hearn, it's like, dude, stop. Because let's twist this. Let's look at it in another way. On the same sanctioning body, who was the person that he represented that was getting ran up the fucking wall by the WBC? Was getting screwed over by the WBC. Who was that? Dillian White, right? Dillian White waited 1,000 days for him to get dicked around by the WBC. And you know, and Eddie was like, that's wrong. This is absurd. What are they doing? This, that, and the other, right? But now he doesn't have the same energy for another fighter that it looks like Canelo could duck if he wanted to. Because he's busy trying to fight bigger guys or whatever. You know, but in the long haul, I do think that David Benavidez has done enough. You don't have to fight other fighters. And how dare you become a fucking matchmaker for other people? Now, do I think those fighters should be fighting each other? I do. I do think those fighters should be fighting each other. Because, like, if you don't, you see, these guys in this day and age, they're just hanging around for a fucking payday. They're hanging around for that one fight. I'll put my O or everything else on the line for that one fight. Not all the other fights. I'm not fighting this motherfucker where I want to fight that motherfucker. I want to fight that motherfucker, not that motherfucker. I don't want to fight the sideways guy when I want to upgrade. And everybody's looking for an upgrade. So at the end of the day, you know, that's what we're doing. So I get what he's saying in that regard, but that regard only. But to say, hey, fuck the rules, and it doesn't apply to Canelo because Canelo's Canelo, is bullshit. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think of Eddie Hearn stating that David Benavidez, being the WBC mandatory interim champion, is not enough to take on the superstar boxer, undisputed super middleweight champion Canelo Alvarez. Of course, please subscribe, and you guys been Counterpunch. Peace!